I love Pokemon. I have for as long as I can remember, and in recent years, I've been really into Nuzlocking. That said, I'm not very good at it. I've only ever successfully Nuzlocked 2 games in the past, and they were among the easier entries in the series, although I've attempted every generation of games at least once, usually giving up because of boredom or a demoralizing loss. However, I believe, in the name of content, I can push through the lows and play any run to either completion or failure, so consider this the start of a new series where I'm going to play through each game in chronological order and maybe give a review of how good the game is to Nuzlocke right at the end. Is this series going to be more long-lived than the Minecraft series I had planned? Fuck you, shut up. For a brief rundown of my rules, you can check the video description, but in short, I'll basically be using the same rules as a popular PokeTuber with an exquisite taste in dragon types. I'll have an original idea one day, I swear. I'm choosing Bulbasaur for this run, partially because I like its access to status, recovery, and late game setup, and partially because the next best option is, well... My rival's name is Joke, because I heard you're supposed to come up with a funny name for your rival, so I decided to leave myself a reminder. Hopefully I'll come back to this when I become funnier. After Joke completely throws the first fight like a big idiot loser, I get access to 4 consecutive encounters. Pidgey isn't too bad, but I immediately double up on types with Spearow, and then double up again with a Weedle and a Caterpie. This isn't too great of a start, but considering there's no scary battles coming up, I should be fine. After quickly grinding the party to level 7, I decide to take on the optional battle against Joke. I still haven't come up with a funny name for him, but honestly, if I don't do this battle, then nothing interesting will have happened between the start of the game and Mount Moon. I Leech Seed the Pidgey, who just sand attacks, and switch so I can later do the same thing for Charmander. I switch between my now evolved bugs to tank surprisingly hard Gusts, but for whatever reason, Gust is a normal type move in this game, which is good for me, because half my team is weak to flying. The Charmander is much less of a threat, because its only attacking move is a non-stab scratch. A few short war crimes in the Viridian Forest later, thanks Ford, I made it through to Pewter City. Unfortunately, this doesn't unlock any new areas, so it's back to grinding and then straight onto the gym battle. As a sign of disrespect, I decide to fight Brock without learning Vine Whip first. I was right to. He is not a threat. On my way out of the door, Brock gives me a CD I didn't ask for, but I don't like rock music, so I immediately sell it. After fighting about 1 billion random trainers... Wait. Holy shit, is that him? Holy shit, that's him! He said it! He said the thing! One ruthless slaughter later, I get access to some more random encounters, although whether I get 2 or 3 of them isn't exactly clear. I remember from Fire Red that the grass down here and the Pokemon Center you get the Magikarp are on different routes, but I'm not sure if the same is true here. Magikarp's information screen doesn't tell me, and I didn't bother picking up the town map, but according to Bulbapedia, Route 3 and Route 4 are directly touching one another in Generation 1, so I'm going to rule that this one's okay? I think this means I won't get an encounter on the other side of Mount Moon, though. I sort of forgot to record when I caught Jigglypuff and Zubat, but considering the fact I have no plans to use either of them, I feel like that shouldn't be too big of an issue. While heading through Mount Moon, I run into this rocket grunt with Eradicate, which is absolutely monstrous for this point in the game, bringing Beedrill down to 6 HP in a single attack. I figure out pretty quickly that not everybody can get out of this battle alive, and decide that Petra the Pidgey is probably my best bet, since I have plenty of other flying types, and the Pidgey line isn't that great. To her credit, she lasts longer than I expected her to, getting the Raticate to -6 accuracy, and even being able to attack it. But eventually her luck ran out, and we suffered the first loss of the run. Although I bring Zubat for the rest of Mount Moon, once I reach the other side, I decide that Jigglypuff is the better option in the long run, especially since I already have a Moonstone. Because Jigglypuff's level up moveset is complete ass, and I have the TM for Mega Punch already, I decide to evolve her into Wigglytuff on the spot. The level cap between Misty and Surge is pretty small, and I have to clear out the entire SS Anne, so I decide not to grind for the Misty level cap and just come back to fight her later when I reach it naturally. And before you say most of the SS Anne is optional, fuck off, I'm not a coward. Before I can continue though, I have to fight my rival for the third time, and god fucking damn it, I still haven't come up with a joke yet. This fight is supposedly one of the hardest in the game, but I don't think the people saying that had a Wigglytuff with Mega Punch.
I've got a peer-reviewed study right here that says... says you're a pussy.
The rest of the trainers between myself and Bill's house weren't much of a threat, and nor was the Team Rocket Grunt with the TM for Dig. I unlock 2 new encounters here, and get a Mankey and an Oddish. I decide to add a Mankey to the team, replacing Barry B, but it dies in its first real fight in a brutal struggle against a Butterfree. Rest in peace, Polka. We hardly knew you. Like, at all. The good news is, I get 2 more encounters when I reach Vermilion, so Barry B isn't going to have to stay on the team for too much longer. I catch a Drowsy and a Diglett, and although Diglett is much better for Surge, Drowsy is the better Pokemon overall. I decide to drop both bugs from my team, sending Bernie to the box alongside Barry B, and gear up for the SS Anne. With 2 recent hires and a Magikarp on my team, I'm basically taking on the SS Anne with 3 Pokemon. But considering one of those Pokemon is Watame, I'm sure I'll be fine. As Watame and Victor reach the current level cap of 21, I have to backtrack to Cerulean to avoid overleveling. Misty shouldn't be too huge of an obstacle, but things could get ugly. After double-checking that Snorlax learns it naturally, I decide to give Watame the TM for Body Slam. I also managed to evolve Ganon and Ford before the Rival 4 fight. Wow, have I still not come up with a joke for you? That's... Wait, is that French?
Going to Brazil!
I get the cut HM, which only Victor can learn. Before taking on Surge, I teach Diglett Dig through level up rather than the TM, and after a very fun puzzle, this completely trivializes the entire fight, as God intended. After a brief detour for Flash, I headed through Rock Tunnel to get to Lavender Town. There's a rival fight here, but technically I can ignore it for quite a while, so I clear out the trainers between me and Celadon to stall time to come up with a joke. He complains about the fact I killed his dog or something, he deserves it for being French, and tries to take his revenge with an all-new team. This is where his team starts getting more diverse and powerful, with an entire Gyarados already. Holy shit, that thing has Hydro Pump? What the fuck are the devs thinking? After beating Joke, which was pretty easy all things considered, I decide that I'm feeling spicy and want to challenge Erica with zero preparation and...
You serious?
Somehow, even underleveled, and with the AI literally cheating, none of the gyms have been remotely threatening. Nor of the rival fights, honestly. My only losses have been to random chuckle fucks with Pokemon stronger than you'd expect of random trainers. They say the modern games are easy. The next two gyms have the same level cap, with the trade-off being that that level cap is absurdly high, giving us enough wiggle room to rampage across Kanto with impunity, clearing out every trainer but them in preparation. Our first stop is the Rocket Game Corner. In my defense, they did have a thing I want. Next, buy a drink, then to Lavender Town. In my defense, it was very haunted. Quick detour for a Snorlax, retirement party for Watame. She's kind of unceremoniously falling off, and Snorlax is just better at everything except speed. After going through some necessary progression items from the Safari Zone, I'm kind of at a loss for what to do next. Having checked up on some upcoming challenges, I can see a pretty big level jump. I decide to test the waters against a random gym trainer in Koga's gym, who immediately punishes my hubris by killing Ganon. This is a problem for a couple of reasons. First of all, Ganon was supposed to be our Charizard counter in the upcoming rival fight, not to mention he was meant to be our Surf user. From here we have a few options. If I can find the Water Stone, our Eevee can become a Vaporeon. We can fish on a couple of routes to get pretty much any water type in the game, or we can rush beating Koga in order to surf the Cinnabar for the rocked water type Kabutops, which Charizard really can't do anything about. I decide to get as many fishing encounters as I can first, since that's the easiest option. I get a pretty decent haul, all things considered. A Tentacle from Viridian, a Psyduck from Cerulean, a Krabby from Vermilion, a Slowpoke from Celadon, and a Poliwag from Fuchsia. While choosing between Tentacle and Slowpoke, I did a little research and found out that Tentacle has higher special than Slowbro. The unevolved Tentacle has higher special than the evolved Slowbro. It's also considerably faster. The trade-off, however, is that Slowpoke has far better physical bulk and the excellent Psychic typing. Granted, we already have a Psychic type, but we also already have a Poison type, and Psychic is significantly better. What finally sold me on Slowpoke was seeing Amnesia in its level up moveset. Because special attack and special defense are the same stat in Generation 1, that's like getting 2 Calm Minds in one turn. Now I've just got to get the bugger up to speed without getting him killed. With my entire party now at level 30, I've decided that now is the perfect time for some more hubris, because that went so great for me the last time. I'm taking on the Fighting Dojo. Piss easy, didn't even take one of the fighting Pokemon, they're both shit in this generation. The problem is that I once again have no idea what I'm doing. No, I'm not going into Silph Code, there's level 40s in there. Wait, the Grunts use level 20s? Game balance. Okay, fine. I'll rescue the fucking hostages. Oh, you're fucking joking. Danny lived one of those. Danny! He has like 10 base HP. How the fuck did you mess that one up? Luckily, I have a direct replacement in the form of an Oddish from before Misty at level 13. Alright, fuck that. Plan B. We only needed Victor for water types anyway, and I just so happened to have an Eevee, a Thunderstone, and more money than God, so it's Jolteon time, baby. Conveniently enough, it can multitask as a Pidgeot counter, it's way better at fighting Gyarados, and it can even fight Charizard. Oh! Hey, talk of the devil, Joker's here. Joke, we are in the middle of an ongoing domestic terrorist incident. Do we have to do this right fucking now? You know, I'm starting to think that Joke is an accurate name for him. Because it's what he fucking is. Right. With the training arc over, I reckon it's about time for some well-deserved revenge. Fuck. Congratulations to Koga for being the first gym leader to claim a life. In my defense, I wanted to. Next up is Sabrina's gym, which was always going to be the most intimidating of the bunch. Pretty much all the Gen 1 jank directly benefits her in some way, and Psychic has effectively no counters in this game. The threat she poses should be proven by the simple fact that I have a plan going in. You'll remember that the final reason I chose Slowpoke over Tentacool was that it gets amnesia, which by sheer coincidence would make it nigh unstoppable in this gym, with the small issue that Slowbro doesn't learn amnesia until after Sabrina's level cap. But we don't have a Slowbro, we have a Slowpoke, who learns amnesia at level 40.
I forgot.
With the only threatening gym leader out of the way, I no longer care about grinding. I have Amnesia Slowbro now, and there is nothing that Blaine or Giovanni can do to stop me. In my defense! Actually, I got nothing for this one. Well, if it isn't my nemesis, here for our climactic showdown, which will resolve the overarching plot of our great rivalry. I literally have not mentioned you once before now in the script, and will never mention you again. What? So yeah, that fight was easy. It's a good thing that I decided the fighting dojo Pokemon weren't worth my time, because that means I get to use Lapras, a bulky water-ice type, who will be very useful when fighting Lance. Unfortunately, I only remembered this after training a Kabuto to level 42. With this, my final team is locked in. Barring any horrific accidents, these 6 Pokemon will make it into the Hall of Fame. Fuck you, Joke. Fuck you. After getting through Victory Road and leveling my Pokemon up to level 60, it's time to take on the Pokemon League. But first, I want to do a rundown of the entire team. First off is Jace. He's going to be very important for this final stretch because it's full of water and flying types. Danny's pretty much only going to be useful for Agatha, but he's been on the team for far too long to bench now. Klein acts as a last-minute replacement for Savika the Snorlax, but it's easily one of the best answers to Joke's Charizard. Lindis is pretty much the only Pokemon as vital to our success as Jace is, with her main job being to completely trivialize the Lance fight. Ford is our oldest living Pokemon besides the Bugs who retired very early on, and is basically here for the same reason as Danny. He's earned that spot in the Hall of Fame, and goddammit, he'll get there. Finally, there's Andy, who has had so little impact on the game so far that he is mentioned nowhere else in the script. Mostly because he was stuck as a Growlithe until level 50 if I didn't want him stuck using Ember for his whole life. Honestly, looking at my team, victory feels like a foregone conclusion. I'm pretty sure I literally cannot lose. It's more of a question of how many of these Pokemon are going to make it to the other side. So, let's begin. The fight against Lorelei is very simple. As in, only one of her Pokemon survives my first attack, kind of simple. And even the lucky survivor didn't manage to do much of anything. For the Bruno fight, there isn't much to talk about. I unironically one-shot 4 of his Pokemon with the Fighting Weak Klein, because any trainer who uses an Onix is unworthy of my respect. The Machamp looks like an actual threat though, so I decide not to risk it, and switch to my good buddy Ford, who...
son, dying is gay. Yes, father.
Well, that was a heart attack and a half. Time for plan B. Andy is a lot bulkier than Ford, and in his first real battle of the game, he's able to burn Machamp to death. Time for Agatha. There's no levitate in this game, and all but one of her Pokemon are weak to ground and pitifully frail, so I let Danny handle it, until he gets confused by the Golbat, literally Agatha's second Pokemon. Then it's once again up to Andy to prove himself worth the wait. Lance is utterly trivial. Like, disgustingly so. Ice Beam go brrr. What else is there to say? And now, it's finally time. Time for the final showdown against rival Ligma. Who the hell is Steve Jobs? Ligma balls. Honestly, I feel pretty good about my own performance in this challenge. 8 deaths is much less than I've had for Nuzlocke I've played in the past, and for many of them I can honestly say there wasn't much more I could have done outside of just being a higher level. Speaking of higher levels, the level curve and grinding in this game are a little weird. This is probably the worst game to grind in. Some combination of the lack of side activities, the graphics, the absence of an XP bar, the low movement speed, they all start to add up. So do a lot of the little annoyances. Really, the PC system is atrocious, and so's the bag, and honestly, I think things like that are the biggest barrier of entry to these games specifically. On the gameplay side of things, there's a lot of jank, and most Pokemon who don't learn any good moves on their own, and certainly not until high levels, which hurts both the player and the AI in terms of building a team that can deal with a lot of threats. Overall, I'd say that I had fun, and I definitely recommend other people to play this one, but it probably shouldn't be your first exposure to the series, or your first exposure to Nuzlocking. I'd give it like a solid 7 out of 10.